The original premise for opening Gitmo, that detainees would not be able to challenge their detention, was found unconstitutional 5 years ago. In the meantime, Gitmo has become a symbol around the world for an America that flouts the rule of law. Imagine a future 10 years from now, or 20 years from now, when the United States of America is still holding people who have been charged with no crime on a piece of land that is not part of our country. Is this who we are? Is that something our founders foresaw? Is that the America we want to leave our children? Our sense of justice is stronger than that.
That was last May, the president trying to explain why he had not closed Gitmo as he had promised before taking office. Now it may be a little bit easier to fulfill that promise because last night the defense bill that passed the Senate lifted a provision that kept the White House from transferring detainees back to foreign countries. And now the general who first set up the prison after 9/11 is having second thoughts about that decision. Major General Michael Leonard, the first commanding officer at Gitmo, joins me now by phone. General, thank you very much for being with us. Tell me, what has caused you to change your mind?
Well, Andrea, my mind was changed several years ago, and I've spoken out actually while I was still on active duty, saying that we need to close Guantanamo. Currently, I'm part of the nonpartisan coalition of 55 retired generals and admirals from around the country who believe that U.S. counterterrorism policy should adhere to the Geneva Conventions, the U.S. Constitution, and our international domestic legal obligations. That group is chaired by Marine Generals Charles Krulak and General Hoare. So I'm in good company, and I've had this opinion for some time. The reason that you're hearing so much now is because the National Defense Authorization Act legitimately gives us an opportunity to gain some traction on closure of Guantanamo.
But at this time, do you think that the president could have done anything? His hands were tied to a certain degree by the restrictions that Congress had laid on.
Well, that's exactly right, and that's why we're very happy with the bipartisan bill that came out last night that you mentioned on your show, because it does provide the administration an opportunity to at least return those detainees who, as you pointed out, have been cleared for some time for return to their country of origin. So the ball is back in the administration's court, and they have the opportunity to move these detainees. 2 Sudanese were moved just a couple of days ago, so we're beginning to get traction.
Now, 79 of the 158 detainees have been cleared for transfer for quite some time. You mentioned the 2 that were sent back to Sudan. What about all of those who are still on hunger strike? There is very little attention given to that.
Well, I would hope that there's more attention given to it, Andrea. We've got 71 detainees, some of them very bad people whose status will be reviewed by periodic review boards. The legislation that was put forward in the original National Defense Authorization Act by my Senator Levin, provided for movement of those detainees to the United States and prosecution under federal laws. Sadly, that part did not survive, but at least we are hopeful that we are going to be able to move those detainees that have been cleared for years.
Thank you very much, General Leonard. Thanks for joining us today.